Hello everyone, welcome to my channel about writing stuff. My name's Camille, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Since I just finished all of the big pre-planning stuff, since I finished all the world building talks and character and the general outline and plot stuff, I thought I'd jump into something a little bit more condensed to get you all excited about drafting your novel. Plus, last week I did the mental illness video, which was very long and kind of grim and terrible, so I thought I'd do something a little bit lighter and fun. So in this video, we're doing my top 5 things to get you excited about drafting. This is all included in the pre-planning area, so if you already have all of your pre-planning and world building and character guides and outline done, then feel free to disregard this, but you can always implement these 5 tools into the stuff you already have. So let's get into it. Number 1, when you start building your world and you have your ideas and your premise and all of this stuff, put aside your fear of influence. Almost every writer I know, and I'm pretty sure all the writers in the world, are avid readers. The only problem with being an avid reader and a writer is we tend to fear that we ourselves will end up writing something exactly like what we've read. And there's this fear of influence. There is this need to be wholly unique. I challenge you to put that aside. The thing about this is we consume so much media, whether it's novels or television or movies, that yes, our favorite works and our favorite authors will influence our work, but so will the mediocre authors. So will, the television movies that we don't particularly like or that we saw and they're just kind of eh. Fear of influence is not something to actually be afraid of because we are influenced by everything. Not just our favorite works are going to be what influence our work. Number 2, create a main character that you have never seen before. I just started drafting my newest novel, and after 3 days, I am 20,000 words in because I am so excited, in part because of this main character. I do read a lot of YA books, and I am writing a YA secondary world fantasy right now. And, I've seen so many female teenage protagonists who are very naive. They go into this world and they're not really competent with anything, or, if they are competent, but you don't get to see their skills, or the protagonist is struggling with certain things irrelevant to the main plot. So for me, I really, and especially being in a secondary fantasy world, I wanted to have a very mature teenage protagonist who is very competent and very clever and very good at most things that she tries. However, this makes her arrogant, and this gets her into trouble and the main conflicts or the main problems that she comes into conflict with are things outside of her control, which forces her to be clever and forces her to use these skills and this knowledge that she gained while growing up. And it's a lot of fun. So if you've read, about a lot of the same character, or you've read a story where you've just said, I've seen this character before, challenge yourself to create a main character that is completely fresh and unique to you. Number 3, create an element of intrigue in your story that you as the author can explore while you're drafting. In the novel I'm writing now, I created this sort of idea, this mental state that my main character has. It's a tool that she uses to remember things. If you know about the memory palace, it's kind of like that, but she basically has a memory world in her mind where she organizes her thoughts and memories and things that she's learned into certain rooms in her mind to organize it. Now, this intriguing idea has really no bearing on the main plot. It's just a part of my character, but I wanted to make it this very mysterious, philosophical idea so that I, as the author, could be excited to find out what it really is and how it really works while I'm drafting. And as I'm reading through the pages that I've already written and getting to know how this sort of mind palace works, it's very exciting, and it's really pushing me forward and pushing me to keep drafting and exploring this concept. Number 4, create your outline in a way that every single chapter moves the main plot forward. I can't remember where I heard this before, but I heard an author say once that his big change in his career came when he realized that a story is not just a series of events. A story is a series of related events that cause each other. A chain reaction, if you will. And plot has always been my worst area of expertise when it comes to writing novels. I'm really good at world and character, but plot has always been a problem for me until I understood this concept. So now when I outline, I have like my chapters and then I have bullet points, but my chapter heading for every single chapter in my outline is, okay, what happened in the last chapter and how that influences what's happening in this chapter, and then how that influences what's happening in this chapter. For example, in the story I'm writing now, my main character's father gets abducted and essentially kidnapped, and she needs to try and find him. So every chapter is going to be about that main plot, and it can be anything from her trying to find him, her trying to find out who took him, her trying to gain knowledge or information. But every chapter should move the main plot along. It's when we start getting into full chapters with just subplots or full chapters with, just character interactions that the story and the pace of the story really start to slow down, and that's when our readers start to get bored. So make sure when you outline in a way that every chapter is moving your main plot along in the story. And number 5, do not be afraid of discovering new things and adding it to your manuscript. When we take all of this time to pre-plan and plot and put everything together, the last thing we want to do is throw a wrench in our beautifully laid plan just because something new and fresh came to mind. But what I've noticed is when I get something really interesting in my head, it stays there. I cannot get rid of it until I start doing something with it. And, it could be completely irrelevant to my novel. It could be maybe a short story idea or a concept for a culture or something like this. It's perfectly fine to take a break from your manuscript to either change or edit or finesse your outline, or to start writing a short story, or to, jot down this new interesting idea that you have, or to explore this new interesting character idea that you have. The last thing you want to do is get so tunnel visioned into your first draft that all of these other good ideas that are really just pushing at the front of your brain for attention get lost in the noise. So, those are my 5 tips on how to get excited about drafting. My resource this week is a big favorite for any of you having trouble with idea generation. I highly recommend this. It is the Stuff to Blow Your Mind podcast. It's through howstuffworks.com. I'll link it below. I think all their episodes are on iTunes. I know that they're all on Google Play, so go and check that out. Get inspired for some great ideas. And that's all I have. So I will see you guys next week to really go into drafting chapters and scenes and point of view intents and all that fun stuff. So I will see you then. But for now, as always, you should be writing stuff.